Hello everyone and welcome back to the Wyrdcast. Today is a very special episode on the Wyrdcast because we are playing the Festival of the Eternal Light, a special mini-series consisting of 3 episodes, and tonight is episode 2. The title of Twitch is wrong, so sorry for that, we couldn't fix it, but the title for today is The Fool's Folly. Before we get into what happened in episode 1, which is a while ago, I would like to ask my players to briefly introduce themselves. Kick it off.
Yeah, I am Luna. I am playing Sunny, the human rogue.
Perfect.
I am Wombat. I play Tempest, the Ertinazi wizard.
And I am Vaughn. I play Cyril, a elf bard.
Perfect. And I am Emerald. I will be your dungeon mistress for today. Last we left off, like I said, it was a while ago. Here is my recap. Last we left off, the party entered Velvenmourn, a mysterious realm in the midst of its radiant festival. They were greeted by Leroin, an aloof but well-meaning elven guide who welcomed them to the celebration. They took part in revelry, drinks flowed, games were played, enchanted masks and sweets were shared. Amid the festivities, they found a lost, crying child with a broken horn and chose to place her under the care of a gentle figure known only as the shepherd. That night, they joined the crowd for the ceremonial wicker burning, a hauntingly beautiful pyre that marked the high point of the festival's first day. Afterwards, they were invited to the monarch's manor, where they sat with the radiant host himself, until he suddenly vanished in a flash of unease and a scream echoed through the halls. A battle with possessed furniture ensued, and when the chaos cleared, they discovered the body of Sunny, lifeless and brutalized. Cyril, you stand in a caravan, hunched over a desk, hands braced against its surface. Across from you sits a man you don't recognize, or at least don't remember. Beside you, 3 figures. You glance left and a sudden jolt of recognition strikes. Nimue, Sunny, and Tempest are at your side, their faces drawn with quiet concern. You don't understand, you begin, frustration rising in your voice. The man interrupts, calm but firm. With all due respect, Lord Cyril, I think you're the one who doesn't understand. I appreciate your concern for safety, truly, but the cutthroat clowns, they're just that. Clowns. The rage wells up again. Why won't they listen? You've warned them again and again and again. You jolt upright, drenched in sweat. Silk sheets cling to your skin. You're no longer in the caravan. You're in a king-sized bed, the hush of morning broken by the distant peal of bells and muffled laughter bleeding through the window panes. A single beam of sunlight cuts through the curtains, falling across your face. You awaken in the monarch's manor. Take it away.
I think Cyril is rightly so, a little freaked out. Is there anyone else in the room with me, or am I alone?
You are alone in the room.
I will take stock of my things, make sure everything is there. Use it as like a way to center myself.
Yeah, perfect. Your clothes that you wore the day before, or at least what you remember to be the day before, are very neatly stacked on a chair. All your gear is there. You can see all the weapons. You count everything that you have in your possession. Everything seems to be in order. You're in a lovely nightgown. One you wouldn't have picked for yourself, but it's lovely nonetheless. You don't remember putting it on, though. You don't remember going to bed.
I think I will awkwardly dress myself being not used to doing this without servants. It takes a little while, but slowly but surely, everything is where it's supposed to be as far as I know.
Okay. Perfect. Sunny, your night is dark. You hear screams, your own. You hear metal swinging, and you feel aches all over your body. You too jolt upright, awakening in a separate chamber, but in a monarch's manner nonetheless. Your gear too has been neatly folded on a chair next to the bed, and you are in a very lovely nightgown. One that is the same as Cyril, though you would have no way of knowing that at this moment. Take it away.
Do I have my knives on me, or are they with the rest of my equipment?
They're with the rest of your equipment, yes.
I quickly scramble out of bed and rummage through all of my stuff to find my knives.
Okay. You find your set complete as well. Your knives are very neatly organized. They're organized by size, if they have any small differences. The shiniest ones are on the outside, and the more duller, less shiny one, the more worn out ones are on the inside. All neatly in a row. They've been taken very great care of.
Okay, I'll take the set of 3 that I typically use and put one on like 2 fingers and start spinning them as I try to calm myself down.
Okay.
And once I feel okay, I look about the room. Do I see anything? Like, it just seems like a empty room. Nothing odd about it.
Nothing odd about it, no. As empty as it could be, it's a guest bedroom. So it is not quite a master bedroom, but it is still very ornate, very regal. It's the softest sheets you've ever seen are on the bed. There is a highly polished laminated wood on the floor. Thick, dark velvet drapes covering the windows with those shiny golden threaded tassels alongside it, an ornate ceiling, and everything that is in there is practical. A wardrobe, a nightstand. There's nothing in the bedroom that would not fit in a bedroom.
Okay. And the last thing I remember was seeing that body that resembled me.
Yes. Yes, so the last thing that happened was indeed discovering your dead body up in the attic of the Monarch's Manor after you fought off possessed furniture.
Okay. Yeah, I would proceed to dress myself, gather all my things, and exit the room to try to find everyone else.
Okay. While you stumble upon the hallway, we go to Tempest. Your night is quite calm, actually. You feel where you are most comfortable. Breeze around you. You're high up in the air, whether that is by your own doing or with some sort of contraption. I wouldn't know, but you certainly would, how you would rise up in the air and be just engulfed in wind, the way you feel most comfortable. You do look out over a circus ground. It's not something you've seen in Velvenmourn. It's something that sparks recognition, but you can't quite place it. There are a couple small tents, as well as one very large tent, typical of a circus, one with 2 incredibly high peaks and red and white stripes covering the canvas. As you look up, you see grey clouds. And all of a sudden you feel uneasy. But not long after that, you wake up. You too awake in a guest bedroom, in the nicest bed you've ever felt, almost as good as the clouds. in a lovely matching nightgown. Take it away.
I sit up. Sunny. Where? The first thing I do is check if my spellbook is there.
Yes, your gear is complete. You find everything neatly folded and stacked next to you.
And then I grab the shepherd's journal in which I was making notes about what happened, since I cannot remember how I got here.
Okay.
So I flip through it and see what's the last thing that I wrote.
The last thing you wrote in there is frantic and scrambled. It details your fight. It details discovering Sunny's body. It details the confusion of you discussing what is happening. And then the ink trails off the page, as if you fell asleep mid-sentence.
Well, that's certainly not good. I grab my stuff and run out into the hallway, I'm assuming.
The hallway connects all three of your guest bedrooms, so as you enter the hallway, you see Sunny, who has also just left his guest room.
Do you know what's going on?
No. I just woke up here. I checked the notes. There's nothing much more after the fight we had. But you're okay. You're alive?
I'm alive. I saw someone, like another me, that was not alive, but I'm alive.
I touch them to check.
I'll offer my arm.
Okay. Okay, you're real. Okay. Where's Nimue? Where's Cyril?
I go to nearby doors and open them, looking for the others.
Okay. You find Cyril's bedroom. I'm not sure how keen he is on you opening his bedroom door without question, but you find his regardless.
Oh, Cyril's here.
Ah, Jesus, knock. I didn't even have my boots on.
I mean,
It is good to see you. It is good to see you.
Yeah. Okay, we need to find Nimue still.
Do you remember how we got here?
Oh, the last thing I remember is some god talking down to me, refusing to understand the danger of the killer clowns, which, come on, the killer is in their name.
Okay. I don't... was I there?
Yes, you, Nimue, Sunny, we're all there.
I don't remember that.
I don't either.
Something's up. Where's Nimue? I start opening more doors.
Yeah, I follow.
I politely knock on some other doors.
While Lord Cyril politely knocks on the doors, they go unanswered. The two of you who burst in, you find a couple more extra guest bedrooms, and you wonder, how many fucking guests can the monarch have that he has so many guest bedrooms? But you're too busy to really contemplate that question. Nimue is nowhere here. All the guest bedrooms look unoccupied. The beds are made. They're not tussled or anything. You don't see her gear anywhere. She's just not there.
I'll try and message her. Which is 120 feet.
Okay.
Nimue? Wake up. Are you awake? Are you there? Where are you?
You feel the equivalent of static like a dead connection. Like she is either out of reach or, well, not either. She is out of reach. You're not sure if it's spatial out of reach or dimensional out of reach.
I don't think she's close. I can't reach her.
Are there any, like, servants, staff, anything around? Or is it just the three of us?
So the hallway itself is empty, devoid of servants, but if you even peer over a balcony leading down to the hallway, you can see a set of bullywugs, tall frog-like humans in very, very chic butler outfits, occupying both sides of the staircase, and you can hear rustle and bustle in what you assume to be the kitchen by the sound of pots and pans. It seems the house is very much alive with people.
I will call down to one of the two of the frog butlers.
They both
You
startle.
then.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you then.
They both startle when they look up and they're like, "Oh, right away, sir." And one of them shoots up and stands next to you for a one-on-one conversation.
There was a young woman with us, and I described in way.
Ah,
Or
yes.
she was a bear. I'm not entirely sure which. Where is she?
She was not able to stay here tonight. She's been taken care of, and she has gone to the keep because she had a certain issue that needed resolving.
On choice, I assume.
Oh, yes, absolutely, sir.
And where might we find the keep?
Sorry, sir?
And where might we find the keep?
Oh, the keep is at the center of the city. It is just at the foot of the Twin Mountains, sir.
Naturally. And where is the monarch himself this morning?
Oh, the monarch is currently in the salon. He is having his morning cigar in preparation for breakfast, as one does, sir.
I turn to the other two. Do you have any questions for this man?
Yeah, did you put us in the bed?
Oh, no, not me, sir. I have the morning shift, sir. But one of my esteemed colleagues must have yesterday, sir.
Okay, and where can we find them, those who brought us in?
I assume they are at home, but I'm sure the monarch, if you so wish, could summon them for you, sir.
Can I guess I want to see the way he's talking sounds like he's almost scared. Can I tell if that's like fear or
Yes, you may
or like
roll.
frantic or something?
You may roll an insight check for me.
Or is that just me being kind of a dick?
They might be scared of you, yeah.
That is a 14.
14, all right. You have seen, like, bullywugs are pretty rare, so it's hard to tell how old they are, but from their manner of speech and their body language, you're kind of assuming this is a young frog. You kind of feel like they are nervous, but your best estimate is that they're just a beginning butler, and the rules are very strict, so he's trying very hard. You notice he adds "sir" quite late to the sentence after he has completed saying what he wants to say. He sort of like goes like blah 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 blah, sir. So you're pretty certain that they're just inexperienced.
Do you know what happened yesterday? Did anything special happen?
Well, the bonfire, miss.
The bonfire.
Yes, the wicker, the pyre. They have all sorts of names for it, miss.
And in the house, I mean, here. There was like furniture coming alive.
Oh yes, I heard there was a great stumble. Yes, I'm not quite sure what that was about, but I heard there was a lot of trouble.
Is there normally trouble?
Well, you see, with a realm so alive with magic as Velvenmourn, yes, sometimes that happens, but nothing the monarch can't handle, miss.
Okay, well, I guess we should go talk to the monarch.
Hold
then.
on. The monarch himself can't handle, or the monarch can hire someone who can handle?
Well, the monarch has many special talents, and forgive me, sir, I may not speak on the monarch's physical capabilities, but you, sir, could maybe understand that sometimes he needs some, external assistance. So yes, in a way, you could say, sir, that he would hire others, sir.
So that's as is proper for a manifestation.
Of course, sir. And you remember that the monarch was indeed a very big and fat toad-like creature who struggled to walk, had a cane, coughed a lot. So as a context to his remarks, the monarch is basically like, he's unable to do anything physical.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if we were going to walk down and there was going to be a young frog down there.
Yeah.
And whole thing. But, yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else, sir? Would you like to join for breakfast, sir? And miss and sir,
Do you know what happened to our lady friend? Like you said, she was brought off because there was some type of issue. Do you know what was she hurt?
No, miss. I'm not quite sure, but I'm sure she is all right, miss.
How are you sure?
Because excuse me, miss, I don't really have the miss authority to inquire on such matters. So I trust that everything is all right, and I do not ask any more questions, miss.
Right. So you don't know them?
I trust the head butler has everything in control, miss, and does everything accordingly, miss. So I am certain of their capabilities, miss, and I am certain of the monarch's power, miss.
Right. I started writing in the shepherd's journal everything that's so far.
Yep.
That we could recall. We just kind of start trading off towards the salon.
I'll follow, but I am keeping my eye out for if this all matches what I would expect for someone of this station, and then also I'm looking for the guard who was talking down to me.
Yeah.
Do we feel rested, by the way?
Yes, sorry that I forgot about that. You all benefit from a long rest.
Oh,
Okay.
God.
I didn't think about that.
Very good point. I should have led with that. But yes, you benefit from a long rest.
That's always good, but it also would be very good to know if that wasn't the case. Because
Yes.
then shit apparently was up.
Yes. No, you had a lovely sleep. Maybe a little bit nightmare-induced, but lovely nonetheless. So we're going down to the salon?
Yes.
Yes.
As you go down, especially you, Cyril, being from your standing, you can recognize how important the monarch is by the way his servants move around. You're used to servants, and you have met other nobles and people of high standing. Some servants are a little bit more loosey-goosey. They have a little bit more of a casual relationship with their with their lord or lady. The monarch doesn't. It's not like... as far as you could tell yesterday when he spoke to one of the other butlers, he's not mean or anything, but there is a clear difference between the monarch and the servants. And the servants, they move very rigidly, very efficiently. They know without word what they're doing. They're very well aware of their stations between their hierarchies between themselves. And you see, as you peek in an open doorway heading to the salon, a older bullywug in a more regal butler's outfit, who is silently watching as the servants go in and out of the kitchen, and he watches as the bullywug chefs are preparing food. That must be the head butler. That's your understanding of how these things work.
I will use message and just point that out to the other two.
Okay.
So, well, go on then, Cyril. You know how to deal with staff.
Oh, right. We did need something from that, but I completely... I will approach who I understand to be the head butler, paying absolutely no attention to if he is busy or not.
The butler, much like the younger butlers, startles. Good heavens, sir, this is no place for guests such as yourself. Do you wish to speak to me?
That is why I'm here, yes.
May I suggest taking our conversation in the hallway instead of this filthy kitchen? Not filthy, it's very well maintained, but just for your standing. Obviously, we should not mingle ourselves with the kitchen staff. I'm sure you agree. And he sort of pushes you all without touching, but very with his body language, like, let's leave the kitchen.
Cyril absolutely had a foot out in the hallway, not trying to go into the kitchen as much as he could.
Perfect. He regains his composure, and he is quite a magnificent bullywug, green like most of the other servants, but with a slight yellowish tinge to his complexion. He looks at you regally and with great presence. He is absolutely not the monarch, but he may as well be. He runs the house. Well, good sir, madam, sir, and he nods to all of you. How can I help you this fine morning?
The woman who was with us yesterday, we've been told she was taken to the keep. We need to know more than that. What was she taken there for?
Yes, I understand, sir. She seemed to be suffering a little bit of a delire. So our good friend the shepherd has helped her out, and his best chances are in the keep because there is a lot of arcane environments and tools, to my understanding, to help her with that.
Well, that tracks to me.
No, it doesn't. Sorry, a delire?
Yes, well, the festival can be quite a muddying period in Velvenmourn, though it's not something we wish to happen. Unfortunately, it can, and we are familiar with the problem. Every year we strive to bring delires to a minimum, and I do say we are proud to say that we have had only 5 last year, and we hope to keep it at 2 this year.
Doing everything they can for the delires.
To not happen, to prevent delires.
Should not be any delires, though. What kind of magic does that?
Well, Velvenmourn is steeped in magic, miss. I'm not exactly sure on the arcane workings of Velvenmourn itself, but are you familiar with the Fey realm?
Of course.
Of course. Well,
Yes.
we're
Someone
sir.
of my nature not being familiar with the Pharaoh. That's perish for thought.
Yes, of course, I did not mean to assume you wouldn't know. It was merely a question out of politeness, of course. Well, we're not in the Fey realm, but much like the Fey realm, Velvenmourn is steeped in other dimensional magic. And sometimes that can interfere with newcomers' minds. Unfortunately, your friend fell victim to that, but she is taken the greatest of care of currently.
Right. Do I know... does this track with, like, what he describes and what I know of Arcana?
Can you give me an Arcana check?
I sure can.
I was really hoping someone smarter than me would jump in with that. Yeah, no, she had the ears, obviously.
I rolled a 3, so 13.
13. You have a plus 10. Jesus, okay.
I'm a wizard!
Strangely enough, you don't know anything about Velvenmourn. That much was clear at your first day here. So you're not sure if it tracks with Velvenmourn, though what he says about the Fey realm and how some dimensions work does track. You remember the Fey realm being something that if you are not attuned to it, if you are not a Fey touched yourself, you will probably forget you were ever there if you leave it. You've heard of other realms, some infernal, some celestial, that do meddle with your minds. You might go crazy, you might forget things, you might have the layers. So while you don't know anything about Velvenmourn, it's not far-fetched what he says. Not at all.
See, okay, well, that's... Actually... So, Velvenmourn is like the Fey realm. That's not that good.
Oh, I'm very sorry to hear that,
No,
miss.
no. I mean, the Fey realm, that's fine, but... I'm not sure how I ended up in such a place.
Well, none of us really do, miss. We just live our best lives here.
Can I roll for this? Because I am Fey touched and have Fey ancestry.
Of course. What would you like to roll?
It's a great question.
Would you like to roll a history check to see if you can remember anything? Are you doing an insight check on the butler? Or...
I'll do a history check. That feels most accurate.
Yes. All right. Go ahead.
That is somehow a 15.
15, pretty good. There are many realms, the Fey realm being the most known of it, the one you are most attuned with because of your heritage. You don't know of Velvenmourn, but then again, there are so many realms. You're not completely surprised you wouldn't know Velvenmourn. But as far as your knowledge of the existence of other realms go, you know they all sort of have their own purpose, their own ruler, they have their own inner workings. You're just not yet sure what Velvenmourn is about or who is their ruler, apart from the monarch. But there is something off about that.
Okay. So we're in a different realm. Our friend is affected by magic. You say you usually fix it. What does that entail exactly?
Oh, it's just an easing of the mind. The shepherd has a couple of instruments that help with that. I believe he uses relics for it, and it's basically a soothing. It's more, view it as a painkiller to ease the receptors of the magic of this realm.
The shepherd does?
Yes, madam.
Right, that makes sense. I just look at my... Sure.
Is there anything else you desire of me, madam and sirs?
Can we see her?
I'm sure you can, though I imagine the shepherd is quite busy treating her at this moment. So you would really have to ask the monarch for that, if that is at all possible currently.
Sure.
Now then, if you will excuse me, I will attend to my breakfast duties, and I suppose I will see you in the breakfast room in a little bit.
Carry on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
Can I peek into the kitchen to see if there's any other reason, as far as I can tell, that he didn't want us there?
Oh yes, quite easily. As he opens the door, there is not necessarily secrecy. It is just generally agreed that guests and hosts and residents of the manor don't go into staff rooms. So it is very much an etiquette thing. The kitchen is beautiful. It's very busy. It seems pristine. It's full of fumes of steam. It's just, why would a guest be there? But nothing malicious. It's very much an outdated, in our time, practice.
Okay.
I asked the two of them. So did that Fey Realm similarity thing? Did that check out? I don't really know anything about other realms.
I mean, it's plausible, I guess. But that does concern me because Fey magic usually can mess with your head quite a bit if you're not from there.
So
I'm
this
not
place
sure.
is like that. We're like our memories is being messed with too.
Yes, that does track. That's part of the Fae's natural joie de vivre.
Yeah. But also they said it's like the Fey realm, so it's not going to be maybe exactly that, although we do know there are memory issues at play here. At least I have notes that I don't remember making. And we kind of know that we have been here way longer than we think.
When it comes to the Fey Realm, if you leave the Fey Realm, do you regain your memories?
That
It
depends on
how you leave, where you leave, when you leave, what you leave.
Oh,
who you talk to, what you eat, what you wear, what you touch, what you smell.
oh my god.
Who you speak to, who you give your name to. You probably shouldn't give your full name to anyone.
And maybe don't sign anything.
Well, read it.
Okay.
Yeah. I just kind of start keeping my hands to myself.
Sonny begins his juggling and he's like, okay, so should we find the monarch then?
Yes, let's find us this old frog.
Right.
He has some explaining to do.
The salon is quite close. It is at the end of the hallway. If you pass through the archway under the staircase, the double staircase. And very much like yesterday, on the way you pass the reliquary, which you can see a glimpse of, that you have noted yesterday as well. And you see the salon. The door is slightly ajar, and the smell of scented tobacco hits you like a hammer in the face. The monarch, fat, round, and happy, is sitting on one of the sofas, happily smoking a cigar and drinking what you can only assume is some type of brandy, judging by the glass he's using.
I kind of stay in the back, like...
Yeah, Sonny does not like the smoke. I'll cast a mage hand and like kind of knock with it from a distance.
The monarch turns around and notices your presence. Ah! Good morning, I trust you have slept well. Care for a cigar? And he pulls out the fattest cigar you have ever seen.
No, thank you.
No worries. A sunset brandy, perhaps, to start the day off proper.
Oh, what would a morning be without a sniff of brandy?
That is my man. You and I are very much alike, good sir. And he starts pouring a brandy with a shaking hand, gives it to you. This man is so old and frail, it's ridiculous. He is a cartoon character at this point.
The minute he says, you and I are alike, 1,000-yard stare.
I'll take a glass.
Of course, madam. And he also, for you, pours you a glass of sunshine brandy. Sunset, sunrise, sun brandy. I'm not sure which adjective I used, I'll be honest. I did not prepare the name.
I inspect it if there's nothing magical about this.
Of course. Give me that would be probably a medicine check.
Oof.
Cyril is already...
Okay. 5.
Wow. I mean, isn't alcohol poison on its own?
I watch Cyril if anything happens while he drinks it.
No. His cheeks turn slightly rose-colored as the alcohol hits his system, but nah, not much else than that.
I'll start
The
sipping.
hangover subsides to a minimum.
The brandy is a very regular brandy. It's nice. It's definitely a brandy that a royal would sip. But other than that, you have to love brandy. If you don't love it, it's just liquid fire in your mouth. If you do love it, it's a good sample. It has no magical effects. It's just nice to sip on. And it is very much a sipping brandy. If you down this, you're going to be in for a bad time. Honestly.
Can you fill us in as to what's happened?
Oh, yes. Terrible evening, wasn't it? I'm so very happy you all are unharmed. Do you have any permanent markings done to you? And as the DM, I will tell you, you have not.
No markings seem fine.
Good. I haven't had an uprising of the furniture in decades. It's unfortunate. I really would wish it did not happen during the festival, and certainly not to my esteemed guests, but, well, sometimes things are out of our control. You see, with every
Your
cough he
furniture-
makes... Sorry, go ahead.
Furniture fights back from time to time.
Yes, well, in a realm so steeped in magic as Velvenmourn, and sometimes things act on their own accord.
Address that later. Our companion.
Yes.
We've been told she was taken to the keep. We would like to see her, make sure she's recovering from the delirs.
Of course, no problem. I will contact the shepherd to make sure you are received well. We don't want to interrupt him during any important operations or anything, so I'll make sure he is available and have him receive you. I think I see on your faces a bit of worry. I assure you the shepherd is the most potent sorcerer in our realm. He is absolutely capable of nursing her back to health.
The shepherd is.
Yes, madam. Though I wish to be, of course, the most radiant, I am not the most magically inclined of the realm.
Huh. Is he the same shepherd as from the shepherd's race?
Oh, yes, madam. Quite so.
The one we left the little girl with?
Yes, madam.
I check in with Eerie. My eyes just go blank. She should be hanging somewhere in the rafters of the stables where we left the girl.
Yeah, okay, so we're gonna go back into the memory of him. This morning, they left. He took the girl with him. The girl was happy. It seemed fine. She wasn't crying anymore. She seemed quite relaxed and calm. In the last flashes of memory of your familiar, you see how she was playing with the critters that the shepherd has, and how the shepherd gently spoke to her, and she nodded, and they left for the keep.
Hey. Okay. My eyes just go back. I don't really say anything. Right.
Okay, also last night, after the furniture attack, I guess we fell unconscious, fell asleep. Do you know what happened?
Well, we saw the ravage of the attic room. We saw the furniture all banged up. We made some conclusions based on previous experiences, and we saw you indeed passed out. We assumed it was a combination of physical exhaustion and mental exhaustion that knocked you out.
I want to insight if he believes that or if he's, like, making that up.
Sure, go ahead and roll an insight check.
That's a 6. Yeah.
There's nothing really that gives away whether or not he is telling the truth or lying. I mean, he seems like a charismatic man, however weird he is.
Yeah. Oh, what about the body?
The body? What do you mean?
Yeah. Well, we saw that person, and they looked a lot like Sunny here. They were lying on the floor where the next room over from where the furniture rose up.
You see him blink slowly, one eye after another, not at the same time, a sort of frog-like. I'm sorry, I don't understand. There was no body when we retrieved you.
Yes, there was.
Well,
I mean, maybe not. I don't know what happened when in the bit we have no memory of.
Are you saying you retrieved us when we were unconscious?
Yes, good sir. It seemed that a bed would be
us-
more fitting for your sleep than the floorboards of the attic.
And you brought us straight to bedrooms?
Yes, sir. My servants had you dressed in our finest nightgowns and led you to rest.
Yes. And where did you find us again?
In the attic, amongst the scattered furniture.
Was that also where we left off last session, or was that on a different floor?
No, that was the same room. Technically,
Okay.
there was a room in the back where you found the body, but it is connected to the room where the furniture was.
Okay, good.
When you found us, that room that's in the attic, was it open?
Very much, yes. The storage room, I presume you mean?
Yeah.
Oh yes, there is no locked door in this house. I still sense some concern on your faces. Give it to me straight. What is your concern?
Well, for one, I entered that room. So, are you saying you found me outside of that room?
Very much so.
Okay. Because I was very much in that room before I passed out.
He blinks, asynchronized again. He's like, I have no idea what you're on about.
Well, I'm sure it would be no trouble if we went back up there to just look around, make sure nothing fell out of our pockets.
Of course. Would you like to go there immediately, or would you prefer to have breakfast first, good sir?
I look at the other two, and I'll use message. We should probably go before they have a chance to clean up.
I nod.
They had all night, but yeah, faster is better, I think.
We'll see our way up there and join you at breakfast in a mere few moments.
Of course, sir. Feel free. My house is yours. And he just continues taking drags of his cigar and sipping his brandy. And you are free to explore the manor.
All the way back up to the attic.
Okay. The attic is empty. The furniture that attacked you is gone. There were an animated shield and 2 animated swords that were mounted on the wall. They are gone. You see the faint outline on the wall as they had been hanging there for decades and left sort of like a light imprint on there. So you know they were there just by that alone. But it seems that they have cleaned up. You can see that there is like maybe a splinter in a corner that they overlooked, but they did a good job of restoring this. Now, the storage room is also open. The door is wide open. And it is just that, storage. There's no blood on the floor. There's no body. Just crates and stacked furniture. You see a crate of glasses. Anything you would expect in a storage room.
Are there any, scuff marks or signs that something was moved out of the storage room?
Can you roll me an investigation check? And will someone else roll me an arcana check?
I sure can.
I'll just juggle.
A miraculous 12 on my investigation. Jack of all trades really coming in clutch.
Nice.
17 on Arcana.
Okay, perfect. So for your investigation, the attic floor isn't as pristine as your guest bedrooms were. Sure, they've swept the place, but it's not as nicely polished as the other floors on the other floors would be. So you would assume that if somebody were dragged, you would see it. But you don't. So you are assuming that there was no body dragged away here. For your Arcana check, you feel traces of magic. Specifically illusion magic. It's faint. It's been a while since it was there. But you feel it.
It might have been an illusion. It feels very arcane in here.
Hearing that, can I just go ahead and cast Detect Magic?
Of course. Much like Tempest's intuition, as you cast Detect Magic, you see a light mist of illusion magic just hovering in the room. It's very faint. It's like if you took a can of illusion magic and sprayed it the night before, and now it is settling slowly on the floor. It's been gone for a while. You feel that as well. You don't feel any other schools of magic, just illusion magic.
And is it like the whole room, or specifically the spot where we saw the body?
It's present in the whole room, but it is a little bit more potent in the middle where you found the body. But it is, I will say, a very small room, so the body might as well have taken up the entire room.
But it doesn't extend out beyond the room at all.
No.
Okay.
Why would someone do that, though? Make an illusion of you dead.
Like a threat.
Maybe the illusion was less specific until it was triggered. Sunny is the one who went in, and Sunny is the first person who entered, right? I'm not remembering that. Okay. If Sunny was the first one in, and they wanted to freak out whoever had entered, how better to freak them out than an image of their own dead body?
Can you nominate someone to make an additional investigation roll?
Probably be someone without -1 to their intelligence. Not me.
I mean, I have a positive. So.
I
nominate
plus
Sunny.
7.
Oh, okay.
Let's send a rogue. Your body, your choice.
Yeah. I rolled a 14. Didn't I roll a 14 before? Yeah, 14.
Okay. You're all very focused on the storage room, and as you look around, you notice that opposite the door there is a long-standing mirror. It's very ornate, very old, golden frame with those black dirt and grime in the crevices, as you see with many antiques that are properly cared for. It's a regular mirror, in the sense that you see your reflection. You're pleased to know that none of you are vampires, at least. But you have a great view of the room looking into the mirror. And there is something inexplicable about it, but it gives you unease. You've heard many a tales, most of them bogus, you think, of mirrors being portals to other worlds. And you can't quite shake that feeling at this moment. Not with the context of finding your dead body in a random attic room.
Can I use Mage Hand to, press against the mirror?
Of course. It very much feels like a mirror and acts like a mirror. Your reflections are accurate to what you do. The glass feels like glass. It is unbending, unforgiving. It's just uncanny, but very hard to pinpoint.
Is there any magic coming off of it?
Yeah.
Celestial magic.
Okay. Well, if we're not in a hurry, if I take 10 minutes, I might be able to find out more. If you guys are okay with that.
Yeah.
Just means we'll be fashionably late for breakfast, which I was planning on doing anyway. You two go ahead and try and find out more, and I'll just concentrate on my identify spell, which I can cast as a ritual. Which after 10 minutes I will have to touch the object.
Okay.
If the object is a magical item or some other magical object, you learn its properties and how to use them, whether it requires attunement and how many charges it has, if any.
Okay.
And what the other effects would be.
All right. While she is doing that, are you occupying yourselves in some way during these 10 minutes, Sunny and Cyril, or are you just waiting for her to pass the time?
I'll take a look around the actual attic that we fought in, like, just try to see if there's any evidence that we ourselves were dragged out or, fell unconscious, any of that.
Yeah. So without needing to roll, harking back on your previous investigation rolls, combined rolls, you see very clear traces of foot traffic going in and out of the attic from the landing to the room where you fought the furniture. You see some traces of splinters. You don't necessarily see like a perfect imprint of you guys on the floor, but there is enough disturbance in the dust that you would assume that there has been some floor action, so to speak. With what you can see, it very much tracks that you were here, that you were lying on the floor, and that you were carried out. That wouldn't surprise you, considering the marks you're seeing. Anything from Sunny during these 10 minutes?
I think Sunny would first get close to the mirror. That feels suspicious of it, but also using it to check his face. I mean, see if if anything has happened to the makeup he's wearing.
Your face looks the same. It's a perfect copy of you, like mirrors tend to do. You can't shake that feeling of uncanniness. There is something off, but you can't understand it. You can't see it. Did it blink at a different rate than you? You're not sure, because as soon as you blink, there's this second of not seeing what the other is doing. It feels like staring into a webcam with a 0.1 second delay.
I just kind of walk around the room, just looking at the mirror, looking at Tempest, making sure nothing happens.
Now that the 10 minutes have passed, you successfully identify this mirror as just a regular mirror. You furrow your brows because... What do you mean it's just a regular mirror? This thing is obviously spooky as shit. Well, I do have good news for you. There seems to be some sort of arcane thread dripping from the mirror. Like it's connected to something, and it goes through the ground. Now, this mirror is very much just a mirror. But in the theme of Velvenmourn being steeped in magic, you're pretty sure that mirrors might not just be mirrors in Velvenmourn.
And did anything happen while I touched it? It
Nope.
just seems
Yeah.
normal.
Your hair looks
Okay,
very
well-
good today.
It always does. I put a little extra breeze into it. Well, it seems to just be a mirror, but I don't know if they do the same thing as they do at home. But it's not magical.
You mentioned an arcane thread. Are you able to follow it or tug on it to see where it goes?
Seems to go down.
Yeah, so the thread itself is incorporeal, so trying to touch it or trying to tug it will result in just passing through it. If you even want to do that, but I will give you that it's sort of a translucent old thing. But it goes through the floor, so your best bet would be to follow it, the floor beneath, and see where it ends.
Well, We have no better leads. And to keep his outside, so...
Yes.
Tempest will lead the way.
Yeah. Okay. I go down and try to figure out what room would be directly below the mirror.
You do so successfully. It is not a special room, it is a washroom for servants. You're sure that if the head butler saw you here, you would be escorted out immediately. This is not a place for guests. Nevertheless, the arcane thread comes from the ceiling and drops down through the floor beneath. It is another floor that you must travel down to find out where it is. And so you do, I'm assuming. Unless you want to do something in the washroom.
I am wondering if there's also a mirror in the washroom.
There is, in fact. There is a washroom, a mirror above the sink, and that too seems to have a connecting thread. A just slightly lime-ish green incorporeal thread drifting down.
Do they seem to be similar?
Yes, very much.
Okay. Well, this mirror also has some connection. They both go down.
I guess we keep going down.
As you travel down, you follow the threads like a spider web. You see more threads appearing as you go lower down. You assume there's more mirrors, and with a little bit of looking beyond corners, you're very certain that every additional thread you see comes from another mirror. It leads into the reliquary, the room next to the salon of the monarch. There are 5 pedestals with relics. They all connect, well, the threads, not the relics, but all the threads connect to a blackened mirror with cracks all around it. There's a little nameplate underneath it. The Mirror of Dust. When you look into the mirror, you see yourself in your most ideal form, how you want to be.
So exactly as I am.
I would say the same thing.
Oh, this is something else. I just cast Identify now.
The Mirror of Dust is quite a unique item. It is ancient. It is celestial in nature. And from what you can glean from this Identify, though some of its functions are obscured, you're pretty sure that this mirror erases traumatic memory upon entry in Velvenmourn. Now, there are other relics, and because of your Arcana check, your ritual cast, and your new cast, I will give you the freedom to identify these for free, just because this is such a potent room full of magic. And speaking of which, could you maybe give me a wisdom saving throw?
All of us, or just me?
Just you doing the fancy magics.
Sure. Not good. 9?
9.
No, 11, sorry.
11. Unfortunately, still too low.
Same.
The DC was 15. Not to worry too much. The more you concentrate on seeing the objects, detecting them, their magic schools, what they are, the identification of them, you hear whispers as time goes on. Your friends do not hear these whispers. They are in your head only. You see gaunt, skeletal figures softly fading in and out of the corner of your eyes, sending a shiver down your spine You're pretty sure that if you hold on too long to magical identification in this room, you might go insane. So you will have to gather as much information as you can in as little time as you can.
Do you share that with with us?
Oh yeah, I said, I'm going... Using magic is really weird here.
I'll use a charge from my loot, take it off my back, start playing, and I will cast Protection from Good and Evil on Tempest.
Excellent.
Okay.
Immediately you feel the effects subside. Your head grows clearer. You do recognize that you're not being attacked. There's not some evil trap here. It is just so full of magic here. And the reason that the protection from evil and good works here is because it is all celestial. Yeah. You start to piece together the fact that you are in whatever realm you are. It is a celestial realm that you are currently present in. Now, like I said, there are 5 pedestals. You've seen the mirror of dust, and next to it you see a pedestal with a bronze lantern that burns with cold blue flame, and it's hanging in an ornate black iron cradle. Mm-hmm. The nameplate beneath it calls it the Gatekeeper's Heart. It seems to be acting as a beacon for souls.
Yeah. This might be what brought us here.
How do you mean?
It seems to be a beacon of some sort that attracts souls. I don't know about you guys, but I think I still have mine.
Your soul?
Yeah.
Okay, I think we have our souls.
I haven't signed any paperwork giving it away, so...
Or we don't remember giving it away?
No, and also the woman at the candy shop seemed to think we had souls, since we only could take the candy if we had one.
Okay, right.
So I'm... Okay, this is disturbing. Also, we really need to speak to the monarch after this, because this is all in his house. I go on identifying the other objects as long as my sanity will allow.
Okay. Roll me a d6 so we can see which one you'll be able to identify within the time.
A 5.
A 5. Okay. You see a delicate skeletal frame of silver thread and bone with ghostly strands stretched taut across it like a harp. It reads, "The Loom of Quiet Hours." Upon identifying it, attuning a little bit with it spiritually and arcanely, you see that it is a tether of Velvenmourn. It tethers its geography, its inhabitants, into a functional whole. Whole, W-H-O-L-E. And it maintains an illusory flow of time.
Mm-hmm. I'll relay this information.
You can still...
This does seem to...
Sorry, go ahead.
This does seem to explain some things. Like how we don't know how long we've been here.
You can still, of course, investigate the items without any magical detecting spells or identifying spells, but the effects are so enwrapping. It's coming back to you despite the protection of evil and good, that it is time to drop your enchantments, your spells.
I stop.
There's two remaining items that you are not able to identify magically. You see a small ivory handbell with no clapper, and it is called the Stillborn Bell. And lastly, you see a large, multifaceted crystal shaped like a teardrop, housed in an open shrine of white bone. It reads the Exitus Prism. Prism. And those are the items in the reliquary.
Okay. Can I make anything else out but what they do without using magic? By investigating them or trying to sense their...
I mean, you can try an investigation roll. It will be a very high DC because it's quite mystical, these items. So you will need a high investigation roll to really gather context clues of what they could be doing.
Right.
Help with that? Can I cast Detect Magic?
You can. You also will need to roll a wisdom saving throw. You are probably aware of the effects should you fail that. But you can cast Detect Magic, yes.
2 questions. So, well, I guess 1. Is this a charmed condition at all?
No.
Okay. In that case, I will eat my little candy that gives me advantage on those, because
Perfect.
your boy ate lots.
Perfect.
That is a 16, because I got a 17 on the die.
Hell yeah. You pass. So unlike Tempest, who struggled to keep the arcane influences out of her mind, you are quite alright currently. It is no identify item, it is only detect magic, but you are able to hone in on these schools of magic. Now, specifically the Stillborn Bell has a air of necromancy, and as you look around the room, it is the only one that exudes necromancy. The Exitus Prism has evocation and abjuration, which the Gatekeeper's Heart also has abjuration, but the Mirror has divination and illusion, and the Morning Veil also has illusion. I'm sorry, I said Morning Veil. I scratched that. It doesn't exist, genuinely. I did not remove it from my notes. Disregard.
With a bronze lantern.
Yes, so you have the Gatekeeper's Heart, a loom,
yeah,
a prism, a bell, and a mirror.
Yeah.
And can you repeat what schools the mirror and the loom were?
So the mirror is illusion and divination, and the loom is transmutation and divination.
Dropsy.
I rolled a 23, by the way.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, that is very high indeed. Okay, so with the assistance of the detect magic of Cyril, you're pretty certain what this bell should be doing. You know that there are certain spirits that have unresolved issues. You know them as banshees, wraiths, revenants, or other hostile undead. This bell grounds spirits and prevents them from turning into wrathful spirits. It doesn't have a clapper, so you can only assume it is a sort of spiritual ringing that you might not be able to hear were you alive.
We don't hear it, right?
You do.
Yeah. Can I sense how I would ring this bell?
It's a very simple handbell. You can pick it up and you can give it a swing.
I look at you guys. Okay, so do we ring it? It seems to be a positive item. If it keeps spirits from turning wrathful. But if we hear it, that might mean some things.
Well, we have the mirror to erase the traumatic memory of finding out we're fucking dead if we do hear it. So that's good.
Only on entering the realm, I think.
Oh, we'll have
But
to
you never know.
Do you ring it?
Okay.
Okay.
Do I?
Sunny's uneasy, but doesn't say no.
I give it like one ring.
You hear the bell ring. It is
Shit.
deep, harmonic. It chimes beautifully. It's not the sound you would expect. It's a small handbell and it should reflect that sound, but instead it sounds like a giant church bell. It is haunting, but not scary. It's calming. It's very, very comfortable. And as the gears turn in our players' heads, so it does in the characters' heads. The realm, the relics. You don't have a soul. You are a soul. And you are dead.
Oh no.
Not again.
Okay. Oh no, we can fix that. People come back alive. I've never been dead before, but how did I die? I just start crying a little.
Aww.
Like, it's good that the bell is calming because the panic that would otherwise have ensued.
It simply cannot be right. There is no way Abigail would not spend the money to bring me back.
Well,
It's wrong.
I mean, it takes diamonds, right? Bringing people back. I don't know anyone with diamonds. Oh shit. I try to. I kind of still check. No, I'm here. Oh.
You said the mirror like removes our traumatic memories. Mm-hmm. So if I try to think, because I know that I have a reason that I need to be always spinning my knives. Mm-hmm. Can I try to think of what that reason is?
Yes, you can definitely try. Let me see. I think we might go with a... Let's go with a history check. Just a straight up history check for that.
Right. Okay, I'm a little smarter. That's cocked. That's a 19.
A 19, beautiful. So the mirror is quite powerful. You're standing next to it and you feel it pulling on your mind as you're actively retrieving your memories. But you are able to fight it for a little bit. You're mainly able to fight it because you're aware of the mirror. You're aware of its use. And you recognize your traumatic dealings, which caused you to start spinning your knives. If you want, you can share it. Otherwise, you can just keep that to yourself. But you are fully aware of why you are constantly fiddling and fidgeting with your knives.
I'll let them know. I won't share, but I'll say now that we're aware that it's taken our memories, we can maybe try to fight against it. I remember why I spin my knives. If you guys want to remember your traumatic experiences.
I mean, I guess.
Can I get a perception check from someone? You may nominate someone.
Sure. It's an 18 perception.
18. Perfect. You see in the corner of your eye some movement. It's not exactly subtle, but subtle enough. At least they try to be subtle and to not interrupt you. But you see the monarch leaning on his cane with great strain, watching you solemnly. Do you acknowledge him?
Cyril absolutely will. I wanted to let Tempest and Sunny finish Cyril's most traumatic memory is a social faux pas that no one else will
So let's say you silently acknowledge him by just looking in his direction. He seems to have the same idea. He is silent. He is looking solemn. He nods to acknowledge you and just stands in silence and lets Tempest and Sunny go through their thing. So let's hear it what you are doing. But you are now aware that the monarch is here.
I try to kind of awkwardly, probably, hide the bell I'm holding. Sort of, I'm not doing anything.
The monarch smiles because he's seen it. No worries, dear. You can hardly break it, he says, with quite a soft and warm tone in his voice. I'm very sorry you had to discover it this way, if at all. We prefer the people of Velvenmourn not to realize they're dead, so they can be at peace. It's incredibly calm, his voice. It lacks the regality he had. He seems to be genuinely mournful for your conditions.
I look at him straight in his face and I ring the bell at him.
Yes, dear, I can hear it as well. All of us in Velvenmourn are dead.
Yeah, you're dead too.
Yes, dear.
Okay.
Do you know how we died?
Unfortunately, I do not, but if you so wish, I can try and help you remember. Though I will say that for most people there is a very good reason your memories are wiped. They can be so traumatic that you would rather live without the knowledge of how you died.
But why am I here though? This doesn't seem right.
And how is that?
This is the wrong realm for me.
He smiles. This is the realm for everybody. It is not your permanent residence. The festival? It's a Passover. After you have all reached your full potentials as spirits, after you have resolved your issues, lest you become banshees or wraiths or worse, only then will you pass on to your appropriate realm. And that depends on your heritage, your faith. Velvenmourn is not the end. It is merely a station on the way to your destination.
Oh god, the little girl, she died.
I'm afraid
Falling.
so.
Right.
Did we die here, like, again? Like, the furniture attacked us, but
No, I'm pretty sure that was just the relics doing their job protecting your minds. It's, as you are experiencing right now, quite taxing on the mind. And quite, well, traumatic. I can assure you all the relics here are for everyone's protection. And I'm sure your faded memories are just a result of that.
Well, I'll be quite frank, I don't believe you. I
That's
don't believe
fine.
I've died. You're saying you can help us regain those memories. That may be the only way I come to believe you.
Of course. I will employ the help of Madame Sira. She's the very kind lady that runs the fortune teller stall. A very fun stall, you must visit it in your free time, but despite giving you a fun little reading about your love life, she is also quite attuned to spirits, as are most of our vendors. I assume from the presence of your masks that you have met Ilwyn. Wasn't she just weird? Well, she's
I
just...
guess so.
She was something.
Little rude to say that about someone.
Well, weird is hardly an insult in Velvenmourn.
It's only rude if they hear it.
It's only rude
Well,
if they
that's
think
not
it is.
true.
Rude either way.
Well, either way, I'll employ the help of Madame Sira. It will take me maybe 15 minutes. I do invite you to take breakfast, though. If you are no longer hungry after this revelation, I quite understand, of course.
If we're dead, do we need food?
No, but it is so nice to have, isn't it? You see, he still has a glass of brandy in his hand, and he takes a sip.
Right. If you're dead, why haven't you passed on then?
Well, I'm not sure that I am quite done, frankly. I don't know where I would go. I was quite a faithless toad in my time, and there's not much beyond here for bullywugs. I mean, there are some options, but I've spoken to the shepherd, and he tasked me with being a monarch, something that was very fitting for me. And I have served as the ruler of Velvenmourn ever since. Just the riffraff, of course. I'm not of actual importance. I just make sure the economy keeps turning and, well, the town is kept and the festival is organized. But I have no real power here. That's all the shepherd.
Okay. I just sit on the floor. Just giving up, kinda.
Well then, I will leave you to your devices. I will fetch Madame Sira. Choose if you want to have breakfast, or I will meet you here, exactly where you were. No worries either way. And he hobbles off with the slowest fucking speed you can imagine. Like, it's awkward seeing him leave. But eventually he does.
0,000% like nudges by him to go find a bottle of wine or a drink.
You are intercepted by a butler, any butler. You can't tell them apart, because how can you tell bullywugs apart, honestly? There are so many here, and they're all in butler uniforms.
Can't tell bullywugs apart. Can't tell the help apart.
Can't tell the helps apart. You're pretty sure this isn't the head butler, but you're not entirely sure. It could be, maybe, but it's probably not. You find a butler, and startled by your commanding presence, they happily lead you to some sort of cabinet, and there is all the wine you will ever need. It's all of great, great value. It's very high end. It is the wine of a true monarch.
As much as I can fit in like a side bag, that is how many bottles I take, and then I still hold.
Roll me a d12. If you roll a 1, that's going to be very embarrassing, because that's the amount of bottles you'll be able to stack.
That's an 11.
Oh, shit! You are now in possession of 11 bottles of very, very high quality wine. It's fucking delicious. It's so great.
Cyril's gonna have to multi-class into Drunken Master Monk at this point.
I think they'll let you here.
So time passes, and as you are gathering wine, sitting on the floor, having existential crises, he eventually returns with... I was going to say Khajiit, it's a tabaxi. Wrong fantasy series. With a tabaxi woman. Now I'm all off the rails. She's a silvery grey tabaxi, subtle stripes. Her eyes are piercing, they're golden and, most of all, feline. She is clad in fine silks of every colour, and she has an abundance of jewellery on her. My presence was requested by the monarch. I assume it is for you. And she waves generally in your directions. Now,
Yeah.
would you like a glimpse beyond the veil? A whisper from what has been or what may come?
Sonny steps forward.
That is very good. She takes one of your hands and she reaches out another towards both Tempest and Cyril. Come, join. And she sort of gestures for you to make a circle, holding hands.
Cyril will step forward and grab Sonny's hand.
Do we all need to be holding hands?
Yes, dear, that would be ideal. We need to channel as much as your spirit as possible.
Of course.
Sonny takes a moment.
Yeah, I take one of Cyril's bottles. sticking out of it. Just burp down half a bottle and then grab the hands.
Updating that to 10 bottles of wine.
Sonny will take one knife and like spin it like right in front of his face for a couple moments, and then tightly closes his eyes and puts down his knife to hold everyone's hands.
Okay. You are standing in a circle of 4. You 3 and Madame Sira. She closes her eyes and she starts muttering something in a language you do not understand. It seems, if you're reading her body language right, some sort of starting right, some sort of well-wishings for you, for herself, for protection. And as she does, she connects Sunny and Tempest's hand, so you are now a circle of 3, and stands in the middle of you. You see her take things out of her pouch. Herbs, candles, myrrh, incense, crystals, all sorts of spiritually adjacent things. She lays out a deck of cards. She waves her incense around. And you feel a flash. Can everyone individually roll me a wisdom saving throw?
I'm not one.
15 for Cyril.
A 15, perfect.
16.
16.
7. Just 7.
Just a 7, okay. I will come back to the effect of that after this. You all realize in your connection what happened. When you entered Velvenmourn, you didn't know each other. You may have met each other along the way once because you were in the same circles, but you weren't like acquainted with each other. But you, specifically Cyril, feel your memory that you had in your dream, where you were all in a caravan, warning that rigid man of danger. You did know each other, though briefly. You were not associated to each other by choice, but you were hired by rich people because you were truly the best of the business. You just weren't a troupe. But someone really wanted the full experience, so they hired you. Lord Cyril, you were excellent in your connections to make such a deal happen. Tempest, you were an excellent technician in many ways, as well as you were able to make a performance. Sunny, of course, you were just simply the best juggler there was anywhere. And Nimue, the strong woman in her druid form, was just a sight to behold. There was no question they needed to employ you for this special one-time event. What event it was very unimportant. It was for people with money who liked to see people dance for them, in a metaphorical and literal way. You booked success. The people pleaded for you to stay a troupe, to go touring. You each had your own idea for it according to how you would feel about it. Some of you might be more reserved and think of staying a freelancer. The others might have considered joining up forces permanently. However your feelings were, for the moment you were just a one-time connected group. You were not supposed to be there, at least not according to the cutthroat clowns, not according to a group who has worked so hard to be performers for the elite. Seeing their ambition crushed, their opportunities snatched away from them from some snobby newcomers who were bought to be here, didn't have any actual talent, was just too much to bear. You were all very skilled, and in a fair fight, there's no question you would have won. But this was no fair fight, as the cutthroat clowns were not the honest clowns, but cutthroat. Everything in the circus went wrong. It was one freak accident after another. Sunny, your knives failed. As if enchanted by magic, you were impaled by your own knives. Tempest, in your aerial acrobatics and keeping mechanisms afloat, you were somehow asphyxiated by your own winds. And Lord Cyril, that wine was so good. Too good. It tasted of almonds, of cyanide. It was a setup. You were all murdered in cold blood without even having the opportunity to realize what was wrong. It was all just too late. And that is how you crossed Lake Serenthel on that big galleon into the mists of Velvenmourn. And now aware of your death. Madame Sarah lets out a sigh and brings you all back down to metaphorical earth, back to Velvenmourn, in a sense, by closing off the ritual. For Sunny, who unfortunately failed the wisdom saving throw, this was such a straining ritual that you receive 5 psychic damage. The rest of you are fine. Madame Zero watches you expectantly. She has no need to lead the conversation. She understands that you went through well, something. I think you might be muted.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Sorry
I
about
have no
that.
idea, but it cut out before, so I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
I muted. I could stand up and crack my old ass knees.
Relatable.
Seeing Sunny take that psychic damage, knowing connection we had, I will cast a quick healing word to bring him back to full.
Nice.
That's very
My
sweet.
minimum roll is more health he lost. So,
Okay.
Amazing.
I just down the other half of the bottle and go, oh my god, I think I might be the first air genasi in history to asphyxiate. I can literally hold my breath forever. Why?
It was indeed a cruel death you all experienced. I'm afraid that whomever set out for you was made of pure evil. Unfortunately, you do not need to be an infernal being to be pure evil. Even the simplest of the humanoids can be evil incarnate. Clowns have never been my favorite, to be honest.
What happened to our families?
Well, they will come here someday. Could be tomorrow. Could be in several years. Nobody knows when death comes for them. Not even the most far-sighted people. Not even I could foresee my death.
But how long has it been?
For you. You have only been here since the start of the festival. You have only been here one day. Well, 2 if you count today. Others might have been here the full year. People usually don't stay longer than a year. The festival is a rite of passage. Only those with special purpose, like the monarch, me, Ilven, and others, will stay longer in Velvenmourn. But usually people pass within the year. During the lighting up of the lanterns, which is tomorrow.
I have a quick question about how that bell works. Does it ring whenever someone is trending towards that sort of unease or unfinished purpose, or is it just when you ring it?
Most of these relics are sort of self-governing, sort of self-utilizing. It can be rung by someone individually if necessary, but usually it works on its own.
That was more of an above-the-table question, because Cyril is absolutely thinking about how to get back and kill those fucking clowns.
Yeah, okay, so the above table it's magic, which is a lame excuse, but essentially these relics are like some sort of alarm system and preventative system that are all interconnected, and by their celestial nature they work sort of automatically. So physically the bell isn't rung all that much, but it is for every pass into Velvenmourn, all the relics do their thing, and then they slumber until the next soul comes in.
Okay, I just wasn't sure if it was sounding like a goddamn fire alarm about to go off.
No. Madam Sarah adds, it is not perfect. It prevents wrathful spirits to the best of its abilities, though unfortunately if the spirit does not put in the work, they might still become a vengeful spirit. But this helps.
Is that what happened to Nimue?
Nimue, I am not sure who she is, but she looks over at the monarch, who quickly fills her in. Oh, no. I hear she has a delir that is quite common for new spirits. I'm sure the shepherd is looking over her.
Okay.
I would
sure
not
anymore
worry.
if that was true.
Oh, it was true, the monarch says. We just couldn't be all too open about the hows and whys, lest you would, well, be traumatized. But you figured it out on your own, ultimately, so there was no point in pretending anymore.
Right. And what about the illusion of the dead body?
Yes. That is peculiar, isn't it? He walks over to the prism and he picks it up, spins it around. Now, like I said, we do our we do our best to preserve the status in Velvenmourn, to keep everyone a peaceful Passover. But things have been strange in Velvenmourn. He turns the prism to show a shard missing. Me and the shepherd have been trying our best to find out what is going on, but it is crowded here. I'm not sure if you've noticed how near impossible it is to navigate the town square, but so many spirits shouldn't be here at once. We are all suffering from memory loss, more than is necessary by the standards of the of the relics. And there is weird things going on. My furniture, people popping into existence without the proper entry, and just general uneasiness, arcane leaks. I wish I could help you. I wish I understood what was going on. It may very well be the reason you were so uneasy in the first place. People generally don't question why they are in Velvenmourn, but you questioned everything. And I fear the failings of our realm might have something to do with that, unfortunately. My deepest apologies for that. I would have wished you a more peaceful Passover.
I'm trying to find what the prison was supposed to do again.
We didn't get the prism.
That one we didn't find out. Have we seen that, like a piece of glass that would match that shard anywhere?
No.
What is the prism supposed to do?
Well, it is a tether, first of all, to all the other relics. It acts as a connector of sorts, and it allows souls who are ready to pass on from Velvenmourn to whatever comes next.
And it's broken.
It is. And with the increasing crowd, I fear the realm is clogged. Spirits are unable to leave. It's hard to tell for sure what is the difference between 1,000 and 1,005. But each festival, there are more people. Ever so slightly. But noticeable
Right.
enough.
And is anyone passing over?
Some seem to be, yes, but not nearly as much as should. Now I can hardly believe so many people have unfinished business that they would remain here. I'm almost certain something is preventing them from passing on.
I mean, well, yeah, your prism thingy seems to be broken.
He sighs deeply.
It's just...
Yes.
But what happens if you die and you end up here and someone tries to like revivify you? Do you have to like pass through for that first?
Well, if it's very possible people are revivified while they are in Velvenmourn, if not enough time has passed for them to be. But yes, if their soul is still available, in a sense, your soul always remains available unless it is destroyed in some capacity. But yes, you could very well be summoned out of this realm.
Okay.
I'm not sure about next realms. I haven't been there. He laughs very coarsely. But I'm sure there's rules for that as well.
Yeah. I had some hope that maybe that's why we're not revived yet.
Well, as long as you're here, I'm afraid that you have not been revived, no.
Right.
But who knows? The flow of time is different from the material plane. I wouldn't be able to tell you how much time has passed there. I truly have no idea.
Well, that's something, I guess.
Well, I'm afraid I must take my leave. Well, this problem isn't going to solve itself, and it's hardly your problem. And he laughs. And the procession is about to start, so I apologize again for the inconvenience. He starts hobbling away. And Madame Sira follows.
I just drop on the chaise-longue that's there and finish the rest of my bottle.
As you are sort of considering things and continuing your existential dread, essentially, you hear drums outside. You hear a marching band. And you realize that the procession that the monarch was talking about has started. If you look through the window, you can spot the crowd making way. And you see a large marching band of people in very ornate and carnivalesque uniforms with brass instruments or drums or anything else that they might carry in a marching band. March forward. Behind them is a large statue, huge statue, carried by 8 pallbearers on either side. The statue depicts a hooded man, hunched slightly forward, on his back a sleeping lamb, by his side a hound, in his hand a shepherd's crook. His eyes are closed, his feet are bare, and the statue sways gently on the rhythm of the steps on the shoulders of the pallbearers. Behind them are very cutesy dressed people of all genders, all over the spectrum, of all species, in dresses, all of them, or cloaks, however you want to call it. And they are throwing petals into the air, white petals. You see the statue approach the manor, and you see the monarch regally standing in front of the monarch's manor. The statue is slowly lowered to the floor by the pallbearers. And with the help of a little bit of magic, the monarch raises a flowery necklace and drapes it over the neck of this gigantic statue. He kneels as best as he can, holds a hand over his heart, and bows his head in silent prayer. You hear a gasp, a huge gasp. Everyone in the square takes a deep inhale as this happens. You feel a minute pass. The entire plaza is silent. Then the monarch stands up again. He places his hand on his neck, and through a touch of magic he booms his voice. He is not glorious, and the crowd in unison answer, he is remembered. He is not shining. He is worn with care. He waits, and we march. The crowd continuously answers the monarch as he chants something traditional. You're not sure what it is. You're not from here. You've only been here for a little bit. But everybody seems to know what they're supposed to do. It makes you wonder how much false memories people are fed when they successfully enter Velvenmourn. I mean, you've spoken to people who have lived here all their lives, they claim. That's impossible. They seem to have some sort of economy, but no coin. It really doesn't make sense. The illusion magic must be so incredibly powerful in Velvenmourn. All to keep these people in the dark about their death. As soon as this ritual is finished, the monarch shouts, "Let the festivities resume!" And the crowd bursts into cacophonous noise. But the air feels heavy and silent, even though there is so much noise around you. You are free to explore Velvenmourn. Although I will suggest a short break for some drinks, some peeing, some snacks, all of that. So we will return. Cracking some knees.
Yeah.
So we will return to you in about 5 minutes. Don't go anywhere. We'll see what these dead folks are up to next. See you then.
Yeah.
Welcome back. We have returned from our tiny little break, and we will resume the adventures of the dead in Velvenmourn. Now, we have just witnessed the procession, the second ritual of the second day. Well, the first ritual of the second day, it's the second ritual, and it doesn't matter. The ritual of the second day, and the characters are free to explore Velvenmourn, whether that be the manor, the festival square, the keep, whichever you desire. Take it away. I will put on some festival music.
I think right before we take off, and as we're watching this weird ritual out the window, is there anyone who's not taking part?
Roll me an investigation check.
That is a big 5.
Wow. It's so crowded. The monarch wasn't joking when he said that there are too many souls here. As you try to move through the mass, it's like you're in a swimming pool with those wave machines. You can move on your own accord, but it takes a lot of effort, let alone finding someone who was not participating as they should.
Right. Is it very clear that the statue in the whole ritual was surrounding the shepherd?
Your best guess is yes. It isn't explicitly said. It doesn't resemble the shepherd you met, but him being mentioned by the monarch over and over, you having his diary with important info, the whole symbolism, surely it's about him. But it doesn't seem to click for other people other than the monarch. Like he has said, most live in bliss. You are blessed with some extra knowledge, but yeah, this is probably about the shepherd.
I would suggest we go talk to the shepherd we met.
Perfect.
But I think they are involved in dealing with Nimue.
We should check up on Nimue regardless, make sure she's okay. Make sure she's not suffering too badly from the delirious.
Yes. Because I don't know about you guys, I am not against enjoying my death, but I would like to eventually pass over to the realm I'm supposed to. Don't know what gods you follow, but I didn't expect anything like this.
But there are simply too many here, but there needs to be some decluttering.
Yes.
As you're discussing this, you will try and find your way to the keep, and there are some helpful citizens that will gladly direct you to, the general direction of the keep, and it only takes you leaving the square to see it. The square is somewhat enveloped in pretty high buildings, like 3 to 4 stories high, those, like Amsterdam or Venice-like buildings, pretty tall and narrow. And as soon as you leave that square, you are at the river that I promptly forgot the name of, but you're at a great river that has stone banks and small boats drifting silently under the bridges. And at the end of the river, as it slithers up the mountain, you see a big fucking castle. Big castle. That is Velvenmourn Keep, unmistakably. It will take you about 20 minutes to walk over there. It's really not that far. Velvenmourn isn't really all that large. There is busyness in the streets, though less so than on the festival square. But people still go about their day in the regular streets, functioning as if it were a normal city. They're fishing, they're leatherworking, they're enjoying their time. People don't seem to be obligated to attend the festival, though really most of the city is there currently.
Do we see, like, the girl that we met? She had a broken horn, which kind of indicated what her injury might be. Now that we know, do we see more, like, injuries or, like, bullet-shaped, arrow-shaped holes in people's clothing?
No, everybody looks pristine, honestly. It's quite weird to see that the girl had a broken horn. I mean, even with the knowledge that Sunny suffered from some knife damage, so to speak, your clothes are clean, your body is whole. It seems like an anomaly that she would have visible damage, as everybody seems to be in their pristine condition in Velvenmourn.
Right. Guess we're making our way.
As you travel to the keep, it is quite a regal castle, though not as ornate as the monarch's manor. It is quite sizable. It's a lot larger than the manor. It is a keep, after all. And it being a keep, it is quite rigid, practical, functional. High turret towers, high walls, high parapets, matriculations, all the classic keep features it has. A large set of wooden doors at the entrance that are slightly ajar to invite people to enter to signify that it is open to all. But very unused, generally, is the vibe you get from the keep. It seems more like a relic of its time than something that usually bustles with life, or, well, death. Inside, you see a pretty barren hallway. There are some banners carrying the sigil of Velvenmourn, a very simple crescent moon, and a shepherd's crook, ironically. Or, well, not ironic. What's the opposite of ironic? Fittingly. You see an old man sort of shoveling towards you. He seems to be like a page, although a little bit old for a page nonetheless. A different type of servant, more fitting for a keep. You must be the special guests of the monarch. He
Naturally.
Of course, he mentioned
yes.
you would come by. You were looking for the shepherd, am I right?
Enter,
This
friends.
shepherd and a young woman there who might be here.
Of course.
She's either an elf or a bear. I can't be more exact than that.
Right, that is not the weirdest thing I've ever heard. Follow me. I will bring you to the shepherd. And thus he guides you. The keep is a straight up maze. It is so large, there are so many chambers. You go up a stairs and down a stairs, you go up 3 stairs, you go 3 times left, 4 times right, and then up more stairs until you are in a pretty solemn chamber. You see a bed, the unmistakable dress of Nimue, and the shepherd bent over her. "Come in," he says from across the room, not even turning around, but immediately knowing you're there. In the corner you see Astoria, the little girl. She's just sitting on a chair, playing with a doll, being quite happy. You were worried about your friend, I heard, as he wipes his hand with a cloth.
Yes.
Yeah, naturally. She's alright.
She is. The realm has taken a toll on her. It happens to the best of us, unfortunately. And he gestures to her. And Nimue is sleeping quite soundly on the bed.
Are you the local deity?
I see you have unraveled the threads of Velvenmourn. Yes, that would be me.
Right. Okay, I don't know what to do now.
Yeah.
So, do you have any idea why the monarch shared with us that it's becoming a little crowded around here? I can't say I disagree. Do you have any idea why?
Well, for one, a piece of our relic is missing. We've been trying our best to track how that happened. We suspect a theft, but it is beyond us how that could be, who that could be, or why that could be. People generally wouldn't have a reason to touch these relics. I would like to say I know a lot, but unfortunately, although a deity, I am not omniscient, and I truly have no idea why my realm is malfunctioning currently. As you can imagine, we are trying our best to fix it, but that's... I will admit that even my memory has been affected lately.
Right. Well, maybe this helps, and pull out his journal.
Ah, I've been looking for that. He rifles through it. Right. Yes. He ponders very long. And I must repeat, he is a very, very calming figure. Very commanding, but very, very nice aura he exudes. Very celestial, obviously, being a deity of a celestial realm. It is, despite all of your nerves, very, very welcome to be in his presence for a second. You are calmed. Not magically, just by pure celestial influence. Which means that in the presence of the shepherd, you will get advantage on any wisdom saving throws you must make.
Nice.
He rifles through. Right. There are two things that are standing out to me that I'm starting to remember. I remember seeing a jester that is out of place here. A satyr. And I remember... Or well, actually I don't remember why I keep returning to the keep. I mean, I know why I'm here now, but I find myself leaving the keep without knowing why I was there in the first place, without remembering why I went there. You see him furrow his brows. It's genuine confusion. He is trying his best to remember everything, but it's like the realm is tricking him too.
Above the table, when he said a jester, a satyr, was he referring to a jester who is a satyr, or is there a jester out of place and a satyr out of place?
No, I mentioned it very briefly in the first session. So briefly that it was actually intentionally to maybe forget about him. You saw a satyr jester, a satyr dressed in jester outfit. He was a fire breather, and he was wooing the people around him, kissing their hands, and then slinking back into the crowd. He really didn't seem out of place to you, but if the deity of the realm says he's out of place, he must be out of place.
Yeah. And we did know that he was mentioned in the journal.
Yes.
When we read it last time.
Yes.
Yep. Just wanted to make sure I didn't start coming in hot at Larowin.
No, Larowin is an elf. And though he dresses ridiculously, it is not technically a jester outfit he wears. He's a very sweet, endearing elf with bad fashion sense.
Yeah.
Oh.
So you keep ending up in the keep.
I do. Now, it is a very useful place, though it is kind of mostly out of commission. I come here in the occasional emergency of people experiencing deliriums, which, though she is very much stable and I expect she will be up tomorrow again, it is something that you want to treat quickly. But other than that, the keep hasn't really served a function for many centuries in this realm. It just simply didn't need to. Years are short. There's no need for a keep. We have no invaders. But it seems to give the people ease of mind to see it on the horizon. So I've just simply not torn it down.
Sure.
But other than that, it's mostly me that is in the keep.
There's not any relics that you would pull you to them. I understood that the mirror, I think, attracts souls.
Well, the mirror specifically obscures traumatic memories to ease the passover into Velvenmourn. But the combination of relics, yes, they guide the souls.
The lantern, I mean, sorry.
Yes, that's a beacon for spirits to find their way to Velvenmourn. Last you want to be as a spirit is a wandering one, without purpose, without intention, trapped in a void. So it is a guide, a lighthouse, a tiny lighthouse, so to speak.
No lighthouses missing by chance?
No, we've kept all the relics in the monarch's manor for quite some time now, ever since he took all of this responsibility upon himself, which has been great help, I must say. It's very nice to have someone co-reign, even if he is not a celestial.
Is there anything else that's out of place or that has changed?
Well, mostly the fact that people such as yourself have figured out quite easily that you're dead. No, it's mostly the fact that the relics seem to be malfunctioning. I do worry for the lighting of the lanterns tomorrow, because I'm not sure Velvenmourn can handle any more souls. If not enough pass tomorrow, I don't know what would become of this realm. My power is great, but not endless. Well, it's hardly something you should concern yourselves over, of course. This is obviously something I, as the deity, should be able to fix. You hear sorrow in his voice. He is very sad that this is happening.
Well, I am still concerned, though.
Of course.
How are you so sure the satyr is out of place?
Souls exude a certain radiance. His is obscured. It's strange, it's a feeling, some would call it an aura. I can see yours quite clearly, but I can't see his, and that concerns me. I've not had the opportunity to speak to him, not as far as I remember at least. And he is always sneaking off. He's very good at disappearing and right under your eyes. Also, my other duties have kept me busy, I must say. Personally, for me, a weird satyr is much too little to go on. I generally concern myself more with, well, whatever is happening at the keep. Which I really, really don't know. Though, if you want, of course, I could take you down to a spot where I've felt weird energy. But beyond that, I don't remember what goes on, and I must warn you, if it affects me as much, then it would probably affect you too. I can imagine your memories might be unstable if I would bring you there.
Well, our memory is unstable anyway, right?
I suppose so.
Can't get much worse than being dead.
I do hate to put this on your shoulders. Don't take this as me asking you to help, but you seem so concerned that I might as well share my concerns with you. Maybe we can deduce anything if we work together.
Sounds good to me.
He looks at all of you expectantly, like, do you want to...
Yeah, I mean, we know what's going on, so we're not going to be enjoying the festival.
It certainly won't get better without some help.
Right. Well, Astoria, dear, would you care for the young lady? Would you make sure she doesn't go anywhere? And he smiles very sweetly. It's not a real task he's giving her. It's just to keep her here. And the little tiefling girl smiles and nods enthusiastically, playing still with her dolly. Alright, no time like the present then. He leads you with a heavy chain of keys on his belt, jingling with every step he takes. And you descend down to the belly of the keep. You end up in the cistern. For those more magically attuned, and I would assume in this context would be probably mostly Tempest, you feel a definite unease without having to cast spells. Without casting spells, you don't know why or what, but you feel disruption in the arcane energy here, for sure.
Is it safe to cast magic here?
Oh yes, quite so, he answers.
Because we tried before and went a little loopy.
Ah, yes, I do forget how feeble the minds of mortals can be. I mean, I think it's safe. Was it at the relics that you experienced discomfort?
Yes.
That would make sense. That is quite an overpowering amount of magic for mortals. Well, I think it's safe, but please be careful if you so wish to use magic. I wouldn't want your spirits to be compromised. That would defeat the purpose of this entire realm, of course.
Yeah.
Right.
Cyril, did you detect magic before?
I did before.
Because I can't actually do that.
Oh, yeah, I will toss up detect magic.
There's a pretty heavy air of illusion magic around. It is visible to the shepherd as well as you cast this, and you see him narrow his eyes. He did not expect to see this much illusion magic here. I mean, there's a lot of illusion magic at work in my realm, but this is not mine. This is something else entirely. And you see genuine worry in his face.
Detect magic is like an area effect, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Does the shepherd's magic come back as anything other than celestial, anything other than we would assume?
No.
I mean, I'm assuming he's a bright, shiny light.
He is like fucking a headlight. It's awful. It's not awful, it's quite nice, but he is like a golden shining beacon. You only know he's talking because you hear him. You don't see his mouth move. You can barely see anything, really. He is so celestial, it's stupid.
He doesn't seem tampered with in any way.
No, he seems genuinely celestial.
Is there anywhere that illusion magic is concentrated?
Yes. You see a door that it seems to trail to. Or trail from, rather. The shepherd sees it too, and he goes ahead and opens it. You're in the heart of the cistern of the keep. There are deep basins and grates filled with water, murky water, where all the sewage of the keep comes together. And it washes into the river. You see a big grate going outside. You can't see the outside, but you see traces of daylight seeping into the cistern. Can I get a group investigation check? And I will add the monarch to it, who has great investigation, surprisingly. And the monarch, sorry, shepherd.
Oh.
I said monarch, but I mean
Yeah.
just been talking about the monarch so much.
Let's be honest, the monarch's investigation's even better. That is a nat 20 for Cyril.
Oh, sheesh.
Oh.
My dice don't understand this character, I guess.
You're just really finding yourself in death.
You are your perfect self in death.
A 16.
16, and for Sunny?
10.
Alright, well the monarch had 32, so you were boosted quite a
Okay.
bit. That is a pass, definitely. I don't know the average, but honestly, you're all high enough that would be a pass. As you look up, you see the brickwork shift. It is very much an illusion that is crumbling before your eyes. You hear the shepherd gasp. A giant maw sits on the wall of the keep. It is an aberration. It is almost eldritch, almost indescribable. It is just teeth. And it is melded with the wall. And it seems to have been obscuring itself. And it's awful looking. There are rows and rows of teeth and rows of eyes between the teeth. As it realizes it's been discovered, it lets out an incredible roar.
Cyril vomits a little bit.
I take a few steps back.
The shepherd fully spreads his arm and stands before you, and in his own shock of what he is seeing, keeps you back.
Is that a mimic? Is your keep a mimic?
I've never... And his eyes widen. I do know. I've seen it before. It's just whenever it's out of sight, you forget. That's why I couldn't figure it out. You see all hundreds of eyes lock onto you of this gigantic maw. This must be the source. He's taken aback, the shepherd. He is figuring things out. We have to go. It is not safe here. Wait, I have. And he takes out his journal and he starts rapidly scribbling what is happening currently.
Yeah. I start writing in my spell book, actually, on an empty page.
He quite forcefully pushes you all out of the room. You may contest if you want to, But from his body language, you do understand that it is earnestly out of defense. But it is up to you whether you comply with his ushering you out or not.
Oh, I'm ushered.
The shepherd shepherds his sheep back out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is telling me to leave because it's too dangerous. Fucking out of here.
As soon as the door closes behind you, you have absolutely no memory of what just happened. None. You feel uneasy. The same feeling the shepherd described, and he too blinks in confusion. He does not know what the fuck just happened, and neither do you. Obviously, you as players know very well what happened, but you as characters are utterly confused why you're standing in this hallway. Why are you in the keep? In the cistern of the keep of all places, exactly?
What is here?
How far back does our memory loss go? Like, what's the last thing we do remember?
You remember going into it. It sort of goes back to your intent of visiting Nimue and stepping into the keep, and that's where it cuts off. I'm so sorry. I seem a little bit absent-minded lately. Can I help you? The shepherd looks at you, all genuinely confused.
Oh,
I don't know.
Huh.
let me check the journal. Where's the journal?
What journal?
I had your journal and was writing notes in it.
My journal has been lost for months.
No, it was in the mansion. I had it before we got here. Do you guys?
It's like going through my stuff. Like somehow I ended up with it.
Sure.
She had a book other than that book.
Yeah, I have a spell book.
What? Where is Nimue?
Nimue. Oh yes, your companion. She is upstairs. I'm not sure why we are meeting here, but I can happily take you to her. I heard you were concerned for her safety. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that. That's why we came.
Sure.
You're the are you the deity here?
I see you have unraveled the thread of Velvenmourn. I indeed am.
Do you cause the memory loss? I don't know how it got here exactly.
No, in fact, I've been experiencing memory loss myself quite recently. He's really shaken up. He is less present, less commanding. He's kind of a little bit loopy. Not dangerous loopy, but he's very confused, and you can see it from his face. And while your conversation is an echo of the one you had 10 minutes ago, it is more frantic. No, unfortunately, I fear I'm suffering from memory loss myself, and I'm not quite sure what is causing it. Well, nothing for you to concern yourselves about. Shall we see your friend?
Yeah.
No, I feel very concerned right now, actually.
I mean, we should check on Nimue first, right?
Yeah.
We should get out of the cistern first.
Yes, let's get out of here.
Why does it smell like puke?
I'll admit that that's not a smell I often smell in a cistern, but it wouldn't be out of place, I suppose. Let's leave. I feel a little bit woozy. You all head up. See Nimue. She sleeps peacefully. Astoria's there. You ask how she is. Oh, the shepherd remarks, and he pats his side. He takes out this journal. That's weird. This one's been missing for months. He opens
You stole
it.
the journal.
Stole? This is my journal. What do you mean, stole?
But we had it.
We had it. I don't remember giving it to you.
He does not know how to answer. He's just in some sort of confused staring contest with you currently. He gives you sort of a side eye about you accusing him of stealing his own diary. It's like, all right then. And he opens up the last page and his face drops. Ah. That makes sense. And he very quickly catches you up to speed with what just happened. Your characters are now once again aware of what happened in the cisterns. Though vague on the details since it was hastily scribbled. But you are aware of the giant maw in the cistern.
Does Astoria act as though for us, this would be our first time seeing her again? Does she act like we've come back? Does she remember our being there?
She does seem to recognize you. She did a very happy little hello wave to you. She doesn't look disturbed. She's very childlike, unconcerned with dangers around her. She's playing with her dolly, and she's being taken great care of by a very, very nice celestial god. She is quite literally in paradise currently, despite her broken horn. But yes, she does seem to recognize you.
Now that we're made aware again of what's going on, do we permanently know about that, or do we have to keep reminding ourselves of it?
You would only know if you leave the keep. But for this moment, yes, you do remember. Or well, you don't actually remember. You believe the accounts in the shepherd's diary.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I touch a wall and cast identify.
What's the range of identify?
Well, I have to touch the object I'm identifying.
Right,
so if
right.
the wall is just a wall, it's gonna be a wall.
Yes, definitely. Okay, so yes, the wall is definitely just a wall. The reason I'm asking if there is a range on identify is to see if you can see the maw, because I guess it's sort of part of it, but it's not the wall. It's not here with you. This is genuinely a difficult question for me as a DM.
The object you touch.
The object is definitely a wall, first of all, like I said. I will say you feel traces that are mimic-like. You get the idea that it is indeed some sort of mimic, though it is nothing you have ever seen or heard from ever. It might be a special variant. It might be some evolved version of a mimic. You wouldn't even know how a mimic lives in the afterlife. But somehow it does. And it is incredibly large. Larger than you've seen ever in your life. But to your consolation, the wall is not directly affected by the mimic. He seems to be contained in the cistern.
Okay. I share this. We seem all right here for now. I didn't know a mimic could get that big, honestly.
I'll have to say,
If
nor
it
did I.
even really is that.
We might be able to deduce some info on it. We have, well, centuries worth of knowledge in Velvenmourn. I could definitely dive into that. We have a great library. You could, of course, go yourselves. But maybe we could, share the load. I think it's good if we find the satyr, because I keep thinking more and more he does have something to do with this.
Yeah.
So...
Could we move maybe our friend out of the keep?
Yes, I'll have her transported to the manor. That seems to be a safer option for now. She will rest in the guest rooms. You see him stand still for a second and look blankly, and his eyes wash over white. It is some sort of celestial version of message. It's quite unnerving to see, but you do understand as a wizard yourself that he is communicating telepathically. He just looks a little bit creepy doing it. But he returns to his normal, charming old man with mutton chops and a shepherd's cap, or what are those caps called? The flat caps. He's surprisingly modernly clothed for a deity, I must say. And it is arranged. Nimue will be transported back to the manor. You will be able to see her there tomorrow. She's going to be transported there as soon as possible, but I fear she won't wake up until tomorrow. Right, if you want, I can go to the library. If you want, you can go to the library. But seeing as I've not been that successful in finding the satyr, I suspect he might know of my true identity. You might be better suited to lure him out.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. So we find the satyr and then what?
We'll need to find a way to weaken whatever it is that is down there.
Right.
Well, I will get...
Maybe the satyr knows something.
Yeah.
Certainly our best bet at this point.
Well, I'll just make preparations to transport Nimue. I suppose you should probably get to work.
Could you make a note of the plan in your journal? I'll do the same. And I open my spell book and see the notes I've made.
Yes, certainly.
Right.
And he scribbles an account of what you discussed and your plan of attack. He retreats, not physically, but he retreats to his duties and he cares for Nimue. And you are free to either explore the keep or to go outside.
I think we go straight to the satyr and try to find them.
Okay.
Oh, I want to get the hell out of this place.
Yeah, I'm good with not being in this creepy keep anymore.
Yeah.
All right.
Not a skill of magic I have dealt with before.
Before we take off, I do prestidigitation to clean us off from the goddamn cistern we were all in.
Excellent. We flash a little bit forward to you returning to the square, and I would like you to tell me how you want to go about finding or luring this satyr. Do you simply observe? Do you do something to drag him out, or...
I think everyone in the square, people are like spread out, just going about the festival.
Yes, there's very normal festival activities in the square once again. People are drinking, people are dancing. It's still crowded. There are some areas that are a little bit less densely populated where you can walk and stand a little bit better. But picture like a genuine festival that has too many tickets sold. It's really a fire hazard to have this many people here.
I will use my loot. I will use a charge to cast invisibility on myself.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of walk around trying to see... I assume he's not going to come out if he sees us. So I'm going to break away from... Keep the other two within eyesight of me, at least. And just kind of try to see if he is doing anything to anyone. And look around that way for about an hour.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to put on a show to attract a crowd.
Okay.
I will find a spot near to where Sunny is,
Okay.
and kind of sit in the grass, and my eyes will go blank, but I look like I'm staring at the performance. And I go, Eerie, be a doll and make a round over the festival.
Okay.
And I'll look through their eyes.
Can you give me an investigation check with advantage, but with your familiar's investigation stats, which would be investigation is wisdom, I think? No, it's intelligence.
Intelligence?
Yes, so with advantage, but with their stat.
Yeah, let me find my...
Because they probably don't have... Maybe they do, but they probably don't have an investigation substat.
It kind of depends, I think, because I'm looking through their eyes, but I am the one seeing.
Yes, that's why I'm giving you the advantage. But because you're using their eyes, their stat will be used. That's how I sort of try and balance it.
Yeah. Investigation. Sure. It's only -4.
Oh. That's not bad at all.
Oh, well, that's a natural 20.
Hell yeah, let's go critical.
Who cares about negative?
For a 16 then, technically.
Okay, perfect. Beautiful, beautiful.
I'll be looking for satyrs, obviously, but specifically also for fire breathers.
Yeah, you spot this man quite easily. You don't know what the shepherd was on about him being very elusive. That was the easiest shit in the world. You've immediately found him. He's not near you all. He is somewhere within the crowd. Now I would like a performance check from Sunny.
Alright. And I have advantage.
Perfect.
From the thing.
Perfect.
That being cocked. Okay. Performance. Quick math. 23.
23. Well, you put on the show of a lifetime. It's a sad thing you're dead, but you fully understand why you were booked. Everybody does. You put on the show of a lifetime, and people are enamored watching you. You see, Tempest, through the eyes of your familiar, the head turn of the satyr. He, too, is very curious. He sees the crowd be drawn more towards Sunny, and he sees a perfect opportunity. You, Lord Cyril, from your more hidden field of view, you don't need to make a stealth check because he is genuinely distracted by the performance, and he does not see you. But you can very clearly see him. He's kind of doing the thing you saw him do on the first day. He is talking up people. People seem to be generally receptive of him, laugh. He woos man and woman. He kisses their hand. He does a little trick with his fire breathing. They exclaim in admiration and they clap, and then he disappears again until he pops up at another group and does the same. As he goes his round, he comes closer, and as he is wooing some people, you hear him say, under his breath, muttering, "It's not him, it's not him, it's not him." And he shakes his head and he throws a cheeky little smile to his newest watchers and disappears again. He pops up every now and again, and because of your investigations, your positions, and your performance, you are able to keep track of him, even though it's like, once again, like you are in water and he bops up and down, goes underwater, and then pops up again for air. And you can generally track him. If you want to approach him, you are perfectly capable.
I message Cyril. Okay, so what do we do?
I think I see no reason not to approach him and maybe corner him somewhere more private.
We could message him.
I share that I hear, he's looking for someone or something. Keep saying that's not the one, that's not the one. What if we message him a location where what he's looking for, what or who he's looking for would be?
Sounds like a plan. I message the plan to Sunny.
Well, we don't know exactly what it is they're looking for, so how do we entice them?
Oh, that's simple. You say something so vague that they don't know that you don't know.
You said it's not him, right? What if we just messaged that we found him?
I see no... Well... I see some cause for concern in that plan, but none that would make me back away.
I'm a terrible liar, though.
Oh, don't worry. Don't worry, darling. I will take care of him.
Should I keep up the show, keep the people distracted?
Is there like an area that's less populated that we can see?
You would have to leave the plaza, but yes, you can find like a pretty broad alleyway underneath some arches that support one of the buildings. Sort of cuts through the buildings onto a different street. You can definitely congregate there.
Him to meet us there in 30 minutes. That'll give you time to naturally wind down and for us to prepare.
Can you roll a deception check for me? As you tell him that you found the one he's looking for.
On a 5, that becomes a 15.
Jeez.
Lucky you, because that meets it, beats it.
Oh.
You see him jolt his head looking for the source. He's confused who is messaging him. But he responds, "All right, yeah, I'll be there." And he disappears into the crowd again.
Okay.
I'll wind down my show, to match the time, and meet up with them.
Okay. 30 minutes pass.
I will
Sorry, go ahead.
cast mage armor on myself.
Okay. Anything else?
I guess we hide. We have to discuss. Okay, what do we do now?
I think Cyril explains, why don't you two wait on one side of the alley, I'll wait on the other. Whichever way he goes down, we'll just catch him between us and interrogate him.
Okay.
He seems to kind of apparate and disappear. What if he just poofs?
I think we have to convince him that we do, in fact, know where whoever he's looking for is. Hope our bad luck continues and that it's one of us.
Well, he's met us before, so I don't think it is. Right?
Has he actually approached us, or have we just seen him?
Oh, this was something... I might be getting confused.
No, he hasn't approached you. You've just seen him do this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Might be looking for someone who died.
Expecting someone.
All right. We will flash back a little bit forward, 30 minutes, as you assume positions. And Cyril stands waiting for him to be here. And he arrives exactly on time. A little bit nervous, mixed with excitement. He sees you and he waves away his nerves. His demeanor changes again in that joyful gesture you've been seeing going through the square. Are you the one that messaged me?
Yes. Yes, it was me.
You found him?
I believe so. Clarify exactly who you're looking for.
I was gonna ask, how do you know him? How do you know who I'm looking for?
Can't reveal all my secrets at once. If it's not him, he is... The person I've located has asked for some discretion. But if you are seeking him, I have no reason to hide him.
Of course, that's... I'm looking for my love. He died... He was supposed to be here. He's very beautiful. Silith is his name. But like me, he was fey-touched, and I'm not sure he wears the same face here. So I've been looking all over for him, and you see him fidgeting with his fingers, dropping his confident demeanor once again and being nervous, excited. It's just been very long since I've seen him, and I...
My friend, I too am fey-touched. I assure you, if he's here, we will find him.
Of course.
Have I noticed anyone else who's fey-touched who sticks out?
Oh, plenty. Velvenmourn is filled with all sorts of people. Really, any species you can think of is here. Humanoid, so it's, I must say. But yes, plenty of fey-touched are here.
Fair. I do have to ask, though, and what is your name, my friend, or what might I call you?
Ah, of course. My name is Calathin, and they call me the Ember Fool. He does a little whoof, and he does a tiny little fire-breathing trick.
Cyril will golf clap a bit. You might call me Cyril. My presence is the present I bring. But...
Ah, of course.
I've noticed that you touch people in the crowd and then leave. Is there anything you're doing to them?
Oh, no, not to them. Absolutely not. It's just I need to get close to see if they are my love, and it helps to touch them to feel their essence. I've just not been in luck to find my love so far, I'm afraid. You see a very somber look on his face.
Can Sunny and I hear this conversation, or are we too far off?
Depends on where you're positioning yourself.
We said we would go like opposite sides of the alley.
I would say
close in a little.
Yeah, I would say you're invested in this. You're concentrating hard enough, especially if you're coming a little bit closer. You can hear this going on. Yes.
Can I do an insight check on this vibe?
Yes, definitely. Do a vibe check.
That's a 7.
7. He has really difficult body language to tell because he switches between super confident performer and very nervous. As far as you can tell, it seems earnest, but it's also he's so flippant in his emotions. It's really hard to tell. Well, you've found him. So where can I find him? Where can I find my love? Silith.
I fear we were discussing different people, but I have friends who are also invested in reuniting those with those they love.
Right.
And I think we'd be interested in helping you find Silith.
He starts crying. I'm so scared.
I walk forward and like put a hand on his shoulder. Dude. It's very much the Liz Lemon don't be cry.
He starts sobbing and he's like, I'm just so afraid that he's already gone. I'm so afraid he's already passed on. The festival is almost at its end and I haven't been able to find him and I'm just so afraid. He's kind of hysteric at this point. And he is just genuinely concerned he will not find his love in time.
And I gesture for the other two to approach. So,
Yeah, I'll come out.
Why don't you tell us more about Silith? What was he like?
Silith was a beautiful dryad. Not quite like most dryads you'd see. Dryads, they usually come from trees. Silith was a moonflower dryad. Birthed under the full moon. But under the guise of progress, his forest was burnt to the ground. But he was so beautiful. I have to say I am a satyr. Obviously, I've lived a full life of debauchery, but he stilled my heart. We got married and I've never been happier, so losing him... He realizes he's giving away the fact that he's dead. I mean, him moving to Velvenmourn.
My friend, you're among like-minded. We know.
Oh, thank God. Thank the gods. Yeah, I've been... He kind of bends forward and hushes towards all of you. I'm not supposed to be here. I'm not dead. I've just been so desperately trying to find him, but I cannot, and I'm so afraid he's already passed on. But I have to try. I have to keep trying.
How did you get here, exactly?
Well, some dangerous deals with other fays. fey spirits, and, well, suddenly you're in the realm of the dead.
Right, but how are you going to take Silith out when you find them?
Well, I'm sure I'll find a way. Take the boat out instead of in. This fey spirit assured me I would be able to get out. And
If we help you, will you take us with you?
Sure, absolutely, if I can, yes. You know what? And he holds out his hand. A pact. I will take you out if you help me find my love.
Yeah, hold on a second.
You're not keen on making deals with the Fae, I see.
Well, there's deals and then there's pacts.
Right. Well...
Cyril was 1,000% like a few inches from shaking.
I would have grabbed his hands before he shook it.
Alright.
Hell no. But maybe we can just help each other.
Right, of course. Yeah. What do you suggest? I mean, I've taken care of, never mind.
Well, are you then also the one that made sure that he can't pass on if he is still here?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I would like to vibe check that very much, please. Thank you.
Oh, do you now? Well, go ahead then. Roll me an insight check.
Am I the only one?
I wasn't laying it off big at all.
Ooh, that's good. Dirty 20.
Oh, lying through his teeth.
Right. No, of course you're not. I messaged the other two. Yeah, he is. Okay. So if we help you find your husband, and you two, or us all, preferably, leave back to the land of the living. Yes. Whatever realm. I mean, living is better than dead, I'm assuming, in any realm.
Probably, yes.
Do you think things here maybe go back to normal?
Oh, I guess problems would probably resolve itself if I find Silith. Without my intervention, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Right, yes, well, I've checked, well, I think everyone in the square. I can go and continue to do that. What do you want to do? How do you want to do this?
Well,
why don't you go back to what you were doing? We have some connections in the manor, the keep. We'll see if we can't turn anything up. And I'd like to see how he reacts to the keep specifically.
Total panic. Don't tell the shepherd about me being here, please. I'm not sure he would be pleased to know I'm here.
I wouldn't dream of it. I'm simply looking for another friend. Happens to be... I'm Fey touched myself. It's a cousin of a cousin at this point that I'm looking for.
Can you give me a deception check?
Christ. On a 6,
For
that's
Cyril, this might not be deception, though.
Oh, but not dreaming of telling the shepherd. I mean, but a 16, you said.
Yep.
Okay, that still passes though. You have those pluses are important.
Thank
He
God
seems
for
to,
expertise.
yeah, he seems to calm down a little bit, and he's like, okay, yeah, sure, yeah, of course. Right, I'll check more people.
How can we find you if we find your husband? How do we contact you?
Oh, good question. You can probably just look where the fire is. If there's smoke, there's an ember full.
Yeah, it's like wind. Yeah, I get it.
Right, I'll be off then, and he scurries off.
Before he leaves, I have something very specific I'd like to do.
Okay.
Like, as he is turning to leave, I'd like to just turn to him and say, and you wouldn't happen to have a piece of the prism, would you? Just to see how he reacts.
What? That's ridiculous. I don't even know what that is.
And then I will reaction cast Gift of Gab to cause him to forget I said that.
Amazing, I love it. And then he skitters off.
Well then.
Alright, what is your plan for now?
Wait for him to get far enough away that he can't
Yeah.
hear us.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I think we need to figure out if this Silas is even still. I don't mean to. I'd like to help the man find his husband if he can, at least to set his nerves at ease. I fear he's made a deal with a more powerful entity, but I think we need to go talk to the shepherd, preferably away from the keep.
Well, do you guys wanna go back to being alive? Because I think if we tell the shepherd, that might complicate that a little.
I don't know that going back to the realm of the... I don't know that we would be necessarily alive again. I fear if we leave this place, it would not be to our physical bodies. I'm not keen on leaving this place, but I don't know if going back is an option.
How do we figure that out? Can I see what I remember from my teachings
Sure.
about how resurrection types of events would work in this situation?
Sure, roll me a history check. To delve into your studies, specifically.
Ooh, that's good. 23.
Nice. Alright, so in a sort of simplified nutshell, as you understand it, Revivify, True Revivify, and other reviving magic, whether that be from Celestials or otherwise, usually involves willing spirits and the availability of a body that is soulless. Now, in most cases, that would be cast upon the former body of the spirit, the willing spirit, to return, and most spirits are willing. You, certainly. It has been known to be done to bodies that end up with the with an... Sorry, I'm saying this the wrong way around. It has been done by revivifying without the presence of a body and then finding a host. That usually doesn't go well. It has been done successfully, but it's not great. Spirits traveling back themselves rarely end up back in the realm of the living. They get lost. They don't go to another realm. They go to the lands between. The void, so to say. Where there is nothing but darkness and no sound, no light, no nothing. You just exist. And nothing more than that. There are divine interventions, but as far as you know, mortals to do it, mixed success. Follow the rules, you'll have a guaranteed success. Bend the rules, there is a chance you end up in the void.
Right. Well, you may be right, Cyril. I don't want to end up in the voids. But we could see if we find a possibility. Maybe. They are Fae, after all.
We won't. How about this? We don't foreclose upon the possibility, but we. Just as I don't think the shepherd has shared everything with us, I don't know that we have to share everything with the shepherd. Tell him that the Silith is another person we're looking for. We think he may be connected, but we need to speak with him to be sure. Certainly the god of this realm between would know the souls who are present.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps a scribe who is withered and clad in gold of some sort.
Right. Do you think there's a list of everybody here?
Well, if it's
A list, or
what is a party without a guest book?
Right. If there's books involved, I'm very good at books. Okay. Yeah. But whatever happens, I really don't want to end up in a void. But alive, I would definitely go for. I have stuff to do still, I think. At least I don't remember getting back to the carnival, so I do think so.
All right. Are you going to find the shepherd?
My plan was to see if he is out the keep. I do not want to end. Knowing what we do know about the keep, it seems like that is almost his domain, and would be like, I don't want to fuck around in there.
No, I get that.
Could you message him to meet us, at the manor?
Or we could meet them at the library.
Or we could say we found.
If there's a guest book, that must be in the library, right? And maybe there's books on dryads.
That's certainly where books live.
Yes.
In my manor.
Don't know.
Okay.
Is it a library in the manor? Because that wasn't. I mean.
Oh, I just mean that is where the books live. Not that it has to be in the manor. I wasn't really paying attention to where it was.
Well, it would only take you asking another citizen to inquire if there is like a public library, and they will happily point you towards the horizon and a specific place within the neighborhood of a pretty grand library building. Yes, there is indeed a library in Velvenmourn, apart from the keep and apart from the manor.
Okay, so should we begin researching, or should we try to talk to the shepherd first?
Why don't we get to the library, see what we can find on our own while we wait for the shepherd to arrive? Send a message from the library to meet us there.
Well, he was going there anyway, right? I think.
I understood he had his own. He had his own books.
He was indeed going to the library. He was going to close
yes.
up his practices, make sure Nimue is safely transported to the manor. So he didn't give a time frame, so you're not sure at what point he would be at the library, but it did seem to be his next step.
Okay.
So then to the library we go.
Okay. You navigate the streets of Velvenmourn. It is so familiar, even though you know you've never been here before. But the way Velvenmourn is built up is so reminiscent of everything you know. The illusion magic is quite wonderfully crafted, really. You round a corner and you see the library peering up to the sky. And in front of it, you see a dark figure. It stands in front of the library. About medium-sized humanoid, clad in black. It turns around. It's a shadowy figure. It doesn't have a full corporeal form. But as you narrow your eyes and focus on the form, you see that this is Cyril. But Cyril is right next to you. You are Cyril. That is a shadowy form of Cyril. And we will pick up next session. That is where we're going to end it. Our next session is scheduled to be planned the 27th of July, if I say the number correctly. End of July, at least. That has been it for the second episode of the Festival of Eternal Light. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed. This has been the Wyrdcast, and I have been your Dungeon Mistress Emerald. Thank you so much, and I'll see you all next time. Say goodbye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
It's the 20th, by the way.
Oh, 20th of July. Tune in.
In the Discord, and we'll make sure you know.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Hugs and kisses.